In the book of 1 Samuel, David spent many years fleeing from King Saul. Saul knew that God had chosen David to replace him as king, so he wanted to kill David. The last chapter of 1 Samuel tells of King Saul and Israel in a battle against the Philistines. Saul and 3 of his sons, including David's friend Jonathan, died in this battle on Mount Gilboa. 2 Samuel begins with the word of the battle reaching David. David mourned the deaths of Saul and Jonathan. Jonathan, the son of Saul, had a son. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel. His nurse picked him up and fled, but as she hurried to leave, he fell and became disabled. His name was Mephibosheth.
Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?
There was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba. They summoned him to appear before David.
Are you Ziba?
At your service.
Is there no one still alive from the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?
There is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet.
Where is he?
He is at the house of Machir, son of Emil in Lodebar.
So King David had him brought from Lodebar. When Mephibosheth came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor.
Mephibosheth!
At your service.
Don't be afraid, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table.
What is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me?
Ziba, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring in the crops so that your master's grandson may be provided for.
Your servant will do whatever my lord the king commands.
So Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem and ate at David's table, like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah. Ziba and his 15 sons and 20 servants became servants of Mephibosheth. Years went by. David had sons who grew up. One of these sons, Absalom, conspired to take the kingdom from his father. Absalom's following kept on increasing. A messenger came to David.
The hearts of the people of Israel are with Absalom.
Come, we must flee, or none of us will escape from Absalom. We must leave quickly, or he will overtake us and put the city to the sword.
When David had gone a short distance beyond the summit of the Mount of Olives, Ziba, the steward of Mephibosheth, was waiting to meet him. He had a string of donkeys saddled and loaded with food and wine.
Why have you brought these?
The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on. The bread and cakes are for the men to eat. The wine is to refresh those who have become exhausted in the wilderness.
Where is your master's grandson?
He is staying in Jerusalem, because he thinks, today the Israelites will restore to me my grandfather's kingdom.
All that belonged to Mephibosheth is now yours.
I humbly bow. May I find favor in your eyes, my lord the king.
The armies and David and Absalom met in battle. David's men won the battle, but David mourned for the death of his son Absalom. David was brought back to Jerusalem as king. He was welcomed at the Jordan River by a large group of people. Ziba and his household were among them. Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, also went down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet, or trimmed his mustache, or washed his clothes, from the day the king left until the day he returned safely.
Why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth?
My lord the king, since I your servant am lame, I said, I will have my donkey saddled and will ride on it, so I can go with the king. But Ziba my servant betrayed me, and he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. My lord the king is like an angel of God, so do whatever you wish. All my grandfather's descendants deserved nothing but death from my lord the king. But you gave your servant a place among those who eat at your table. What right do I have to make any more appeals to the king?
Why say more? I order you and Ziba to divide the land.
Let him take everything now that my lord the king has returned home safely.
Later during the reign of David, there was a famine for 3 successive years. The Lord told David it was because of Saul and his blood-stained house, because he put the Gibeonites to death. David summoned the Gibeonites.
What shall I do for you? How shall I make atonement so that you will bless the Lord's inheritance?
We have no right to demand silver or gold from Saul or his family, nor do we have the right to put anyone in Israel to death.
What do you want me to do for you?
As for the man who destroyed us and plotted against us so that we have been decimated and have no place anywhere in Israel, let 7 of his male descendants be given to us to be killed and their bodies exposed before the Lord at Gibeah.
I will give them to you.
David took 2 sons of Saul's concubine Rizpah and 5 sons of Saul's daughter Merab and handed them over to the Gibeonites. But the king spared Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the oath before the Lord between David and Jonathan.